And hi guys and girls that might be watching this video right now. So this is our math mini project for Sem 1, and this is our report. I decided to make a video log type of video because it's the easiest one to do out of all the formats that existed. Alright, so let's get started without further ado. So those are the team members, and this is my name. Nick has mistaken, yeah, right there, that's my name. And those are my teammates: Bradley, Joanna, Manli, Firdaus, and Ruhil. And all of us work separately on each questions, and then we compile it into this one report here. Yes, so I think we can get started. Oh yeah, for that I think I need to show you guys the question. And that's it, which is basically the report but in a PDF form. I think I'm just gonna stick with this. Okay, so basically the situation given is that there are a person who gave out secret codes using matrices method, and those codes correspond to each sequence of a letter using numbers. So for example, number 1 equals to A, number 2 equals to B, and so on and so forth until the letter Z. Our job, our particular task, is to break the code using the 3 keys given and then prove which one is the correct one. Basically that's the summarization of the question that was given. So there are 3 keys. There are key number 1, key number 2, and key number 3. So let us start with key number 1. For key number 1, the task is to find the inverse using adjoint method. Adjoint method is probably one of the more easier method compared to ERO method. So I think this should be a walk in the park. So you can see the solution there, which is how can I describe this? So in for adjoint method, you need to take out a portion, a row and a column based on what number you want to choose to find its I don't remember the name of this thing, but basically if you pick 1, you will delete row 1 and column 1, and then you will only be left with 3, 5, 1, 3, 1, 1, and 4, 3, 3, in which you will transfer the data into the calculation itself, and this is what you will get after you've made it into a 2x2 matrices, because adjoint method only works if you shrink it down to 2x2 method. So yeah, we got the answer, which is 7 for that particular method. This one is actually the adjoint method. That's a lot of calculations made by Joanna and Manli. The report is made by Manli. Yes. So We were supposed to find the message from the inverse of the matrix given. However, the inverse we obtain is in the form of fractions. This is a big factor in making sure that we get the right answer. Since if we get our answer in the form of fractions, that means we don't actually have the right answer. We cannot decrypt the fractions because it will not make any sense to divide letters by letters. This message K1 is incorrect. We move on to task 2, which is to find the inverse of K2 using ERO method. ERO method very long, and it consists of trying to swap the numbers on the left side to become the identity method on the right side by swapping the places of numbers, multiplying or adding any numbers that we see fit. This is probably the longest way that you can try to find an inverse of a key of a matrices, but in the end we managed to shrink it down, and this is K2, which is actually made by Firdaus. There are no inverse for this matrix, so that means we cannot actually use this one to find the key. So key 2 is also wrong. And we move on to task 3, which is obviously, since the first 2 keys doesn't actually have an answer, should be the answer for this task. So we can use either adjoint method or ERO method, but since adjoint method is probably the most easiest one to use, we'll stick with adjoint method. And after a lot of calculations, we actually got a message, which is as per head start. Since this is the only one that gave out a message of any kind, K3 in conclusion is the correct message. And that is basically our report. That is basically how we do this after all this week of trying to figure out the codes. So I think that is all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day. Yay.